from Excel. Probably the most popular spreadsheet program that's in use at the moment, and a lot of information that auditors are getting, even out of mainframes, come in the form of, can you output it for me as an Excel file, and I'll take it from there. So we're bringing it in from an Excel file, and in this case we're going to pick up our excess file from our samples, and funnily enough it's called sample, so we'll pick up sample. And you can see here we've got a multiplicity of web sheets that we could import. We've got a web log, we've got sales representatives, inventory, detailed sales, customers, suppliers, employees, etc. Well, the web log is interesting, so I'll bring that in on its own. Now, you can see here I've got column 1, column 2, column 3, and underneath it I've got site, date, time, user. So I want to make that first row my field names. Okay. Empty numeric fields, do I want it to show 0 or do I want them to be blank? I'll leave it at the moment. And I'm going to say OK. And that's pulled from a web log, all of the people, how long they're online for, when they went online, and what files, or I'll try that again, what sites they went online to. And we can see right away that we've got some interesting ones coming up on here. We've got games. Who's spending all the time on games? There's more games. There's more games. Is it the same people who are spending all the time on games? So what I could do is sort it into that order, and then I can look for gambling. Well, Jack Collins is obviously keen on gambling. Gambler, also Jack Collins. Playboy, how long was he on Playboy for? That's interesting. Now, is that seconds, or is that minutes, or is that hours? I can't tell, because I don't know how it's been set up. So again, even though it's telling me the duration, I might have to go back and say, that duration field, what is it? Is it seconds? Is it minutes? Is it hours? Looking at it, I would guess it's seconds. But it might be that what is required in there, if I go into my data, into my field manipulation, there's my duration. It's numeric, 8 digits with no decimal places. Maybe it should have 2 decimal places. I don't know. Let me look. Nope. So it's obviously not minutes dot seconds. So let me go back into my data, my field manipulation, and change that back to 0. Let's put it back the way it was. So again, I'm going to have to go and follow that one up to find out. Okay. I can also, I've seen that our friend the gambler spends a lot of time. Basic jokes seems to be very popular with a lot of people. But equally well, I can look at my friend Jack Collins and see that he's been spending a lot of time on gambling. Does he actually do any work? Well, let's find out what Jack Collins looks at. So I can create by user, and then I can look up Mr. Collins. There he is there. Ah, Okay, he doesn't always gamble. He also goes to games. Planet clicks and business opportunities. Lotto. Doesn't actually look like he spends a lot of time genuinely working. Now, depending on what I want to know will depend on how I interrogate the data. Okay, so in this case, I'll go back to no index. But I could also, from the same Excel spreadsheet, import to my data, my idea, things which are of perhaps more interest to this particular audit. And in this case, I'm not really interested in his weblog. What I am interested in are perhaps sales representatives and detailed sales. Or it may be that I'm interested in employees and payments and customer and payments and bank transactions. Whatever the purpose of the audit is, remember we start off with what is it you want to know, where is the evidence, and once you know where the evidence is, then you might use CATS to try and extract that evidence and make sense of it. So until I know what it is I want to know, I can't actually make sense of the data. In this case, I brought in my sales representatives, okay, and I've also brought in my detail. I'm going to take some of these out simply because I'm not using them at the moment. You can see they're still over here. I'm not deleting them. Don't really need the log file. And it's always useful to try and keep that middle area clear for the task that you're working on right now. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself confused when you end up with too much sitting in the middle there. But there's my sales representatives. There's my detailed sales. Okay, and you can see I've got my sales representatives there, and I've got my sales representatives there. Now, if I wanted, I can link these two together so that I can produce a report from here containing the names of my sales representatives. And we'll cover that in a later webinar, but it's quite possible to do it, and there's different ways that we can do it. We can tie them together, we can link them together, we can merge databases, as long as we have a common field.